Coming up on Fulton Today, Fulton is the first in the region to host its State of the County address.
I'm Priscilla Ortega. Chairman Eve's third State of the County address focused on moving Fulton forward. I'll have that story coming up.
And I'm Dante Carter, and I'll explain why county leaders are optimistic for employees concerned about South Fulton's transition to cityhood.
That and more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everyone. From the passage of T-Splost to the implementation of justice reform, the focus of this year's State of the County address, Fulton Forward. Now, the Georgia World Congress Center was packed with elected officials and county partners, all who wanted to know how Fulton will move forward in 2017. FGTV's Priscilla Ortega has our story. Priscilla?
Shania, from economic development to transportation and justice reform, county leaders have big plans for 2017 as they move Fulton forward. Now, those improvements were all highlighted during the State of the County address. County commissioners, mayors, and leaders from all over the metro gathered for an overview on what is in store for Fulton this year.
Meaningful reform will be realized in reducing the jail population, decreasing the rate of recidivism, strengthening alternative sentencing efforts, and fostering greater opportunity for at-risk youth.
Chairman John Eves made the formal State of the County address, which highlighted justice reform.
In 2016, we committed $2.5 million to make major changes in the justice system. And this year, we will triple that figure and invest almost $7.5 million. This money will allow us to reduce the number of inmates in the Jefferson Street Jail by up to 100 a day.
And the CEO of Select Fulton highlighted some of the economic developments the whole area will benefit from this year.
In 2016, Select Fulton worked with 52 companies that have either invested or proposed to invest $4 billion, representing more than 50,000 jobs. The investments will generate an additional $30 million in tax revenue for Fulton County and its municipalities.
Many of those new jobs will come from well-known companies.
UPS announced in November it will open a $400 million package facility that will create more than 1,200 new jobs. Mercedes-Benz broke ground on their new headquarters in Sandy Springs that will open in 2018.
Also highlighted was the recent passing of the Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, which was a group effort among the county and mayors.
One of the things that's going to have a tremendous impact on all of us, and that's the T-Splost. 3/4 of a penny, sales penny tax for transportation improvements. Without a doubt, yes, without a doubt, it will move Fulton forward.
The chairman also briefed the crowd on the increase in early voting, which helped lead to a smooth election process, the steps being taken to increase cybersecurity, and also the work being done to lower the rate of HIV. Now, they say if 2017 goes as well as 2016, then it will be a good year. Reporting from downtown Atlanta, I'm Priscilla Ortega for FGTV.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, darting through the county may soon be easier done than said. Since the approval of the T-Splost referendum last November, the focus now shifts to transit expansion. To get inspired, several commissioners, representatives from 10 county cities, and other officials all took a day trip to Dallas, Texas, since its regional layout is similar to Atlanta.
Felt like it was a community that was very similar to the Fulton County communities outside of Atlanta. And they did have transit options that perhaps would fit with Fulton.
Here in Atlanta, of course, we tend to bring transit to areas where there's congestion and the development is already very, very ripe. Here, in addition to doing that in Dallas, of course, they did it in an area that brought economic development.
The Dallas Area Rapid Transit, or DART for short, light rail connects Dallas to the suburb city of Plano, whose location is similar to Roswell, has seen its population nearly tripled as a result of transit expansion.
We saw a lot. We saw a lot. I think we all came away with a new sense of how it might work for either one of those might work in our community, but recognize that this is the first step in developing a plan.
Now, along with light rail, the topic of conversation also focused on road project ideas, such as new managed lane options as found on the Lyndon B. Johnson Freeway. The South Fulton transition to cityhood continues as Fulton officials also prepare for the election, but residents and employees still have questions. FGTV's Dante Carter explains.
Showing for the third time since the November 8th election, county leaders met with employees to discuss their futures once South Fulton becomes a city. Though nothing's set in stone, there's plenty of optimism.
They are extremely complimentary of the work done.
With the May 1st transition date officially 3 months away, the fate of some county employees still remains up in the air.
Obviously, there's a lot of concern in making sure everybody's on the same page. We're still in a we don't know stage, trying to answer a lot of the questions, but we're trying to encourage these employees the best we can.
But at the most recent South Fulton Transition employee meeting at Welcome All Park, it was made clear the services they provided are well received.
As we discussed with the group, 2 or 3 important points. One, from everything that we hear from the transition team named for the city of South Fulton, they love our services. Number 2, they want more of our services in general.
Increased services will be achievable in the new city of South Fulton due to more resources being available because of the tax structure. Though the ultimate decision will come from the newly elected officials who will take office on May 1st, there are some pros and cons employees will have to consider.
If you go to the new city, great, because okay, you have a job. But if you've been with the county and you're in the new plan and you've been there 10, 15 years plus, you lose all those years.
And though those will be some tough choices to make, county leaders stress that they are working day to day on the employees' behalf, advocating for them, as well as keeping the dialogue open with the transition team for the city of South Fulton. Reporting outside the Government Center, I'm Dante Carter for FGTV.
Here now is our legislative update. Week 3 of the legislative session was slow but effective. Both the House and Senate committees reconvened after holding joint budget hearings in week 2. Though multiple bills were assigned to committees of purview during the first week, week 3 mostly saw meetings only organizational in nature for items such as the adoption of committee rules.
Committee rules are the guidelines by which the committees will operate for the duration of the session.
Legislative proposals county officials are keeping a close eye include fees collected by the sheriff going to the general fund and amending the juvenile code to change the jurisdiction of the juvenile court to include children who are under 18 years old instead of 17.
Firstly, it would increase the juvenile court caseload. Secondly, it would offer a revenue generating source for the county. And lastly, and probably most importantly, what it would do is it will provide the juvenile courts with an opportunity to work with a larger population of children that would otherwise fall through the cracks.
Now don't forget, once the results are known, they will be posted on the county's website, fultoncountyga.gov. Some incarcerated men are trying to turn their lives around thanks to the help of man's best friend. The Canine Cellmates program recently held its Cycle 15 graduation at the Marietta Jail Annex. 11 inmate handlers and 5 dogs took part this time around. Started 4 years ago in the Fulton County Jail, the Canine Cellmates program is a 10-week course that not only helps shelter dogs find a loving home. It also gives inmates the opportunity to train the animals, helping them become a law-abiding and productive member of society.
The lesson for the men is that they can achieve positive results without threats, intimidation, or force, all of which are used in the old school aversive training methods. And that's an eye-opening thing for a lot of these men.
As always, former graduates were invited to speak at this most recent graduation. They shared stories about their changed lives and the positive impact the program has.
So it gives you a new outlook on life, you know what I'm saying, gives a positive ways of thinking, you know what I'm saying, that we already know, you know, because we know right from wrong. But it's just, you know, reminding us and just to be positive.
To learn more about Canine Cellmates, you can check out their website at caninecellmates.org. Yes, they have a website. Well, still to come on Fulton Today, Fulton's commissioner invites the commander-in-chief to Fulton County. It's a part of our district-by-district coverage next. Fulton's chairman extends an invitation to the new commander-in-chief to visit Fulton County. Here's this week's district-by-district coverage. We begin with Chairman John Eves, who is looking forward to developing an open dialogue with the new administration at the White House. The at-large commissioner invited President Donald Trump to visit the Atlanta-Fulton County area following his comments about the status of the city's 5th district. The chairman took part in the inaugural ceremony and is hoping to work with the new administration on ways that can benefit Fulton County.
My desire is to make sure that I have a good relationship with the Trump administration because it's important for us to try to get as many dollars down to Fulton County, federal dollars, as possible. So certainly it's a desire on my part to be working with the new administration.
Chairman Eves was a part of the welcoming committee on several of President Obama's visits to Atlanta. He plans on doing the same thing if President Trump visits as well. Meanwhile, the chairman joins his other Fulton colleagues for the Buckhead Coalition luncheon held at the 103 West restaurant. The event was packed with civic, business, and political leaders whose interests are the viability of the Buckhead community.
The Buckhead Coalition brings together city officials, county officials, school board officials for Atlanta, Fulton County, and the surrounding area. And so this is an opportunity for us to come together, network with each other, and also hear what's going on in our city.
Fulton County is the capital county of the Southeast, the business mecca of the Southeast. The success of our state really does depend on the success of Atlanta and Fulton County. So the networking that occurs today, the renewal of relationships that you may not have seen for a while, and just the common bond that we have is very important.
Buckhead Coalition has just been a fabulous corporate citizen organization for many, many years. When I served on the Atlanta City Council, they were just cranking up really, and they have done so much wonderful work for the Buckhead community and for the city as a whole.
Buckhead is a big part of the city of Atlanta, and the city of Atlanta is in the heart of Fulton County. And so it is essential that you have ties to the Buckhead community, not only the businesses in Buckhead, but the residences in Buckhead.
Part of the luncheon included a mayoral forum for the city of Atlanta. Coalition members are by invitation only, and their meetings are generally closed to the public. And finally, in District 6, Commissioner Emma I. Darnell invites the public to her Mighty 6 Town Hall meeting. Scheduled for February 9th, the commissioner wants to hear from her constituents about their concerns and their ideas.
It's that time again. The time when we come together as the District 6 family and friends to make decisions for what we're going to do this year to ensure that our children, our grandchildren, and our community live in freedom and safety and dignity.
Now again, the Mighty Six Town Hall meeting is February 9th at 6:30 at the South Fulton Service Center on Stonewall Tell Road. And still to come, find out how Fulton's health team is showing your heart some love. Stay with us. As the nation kicks off American Heart Month, the Health Department wants residents to know about some shocking statistics about heart disease. And health officials, meanwhile, are also raising awareness on some programs that can help reduce the risk. FGTV's Lynn Vaughn explains.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of women in this country.
Recognizing American Heart Month is just one way the health department is working to combat the #1 killer of both men and women in Fulton County, heart disease.
When we tell people the facts that heart disease is a greater risk than breast cancer, we really get people's attention.
The Partnerships to Improve Community Health, or PITCH program, wants people to take advantage of the many services the county provides to reduce the risk.
The health department is also offering blood pressure screenings at our health department locations. We also offer other educational sessions like CPR training, other healthy heart forums, to really get people engaged and to learn more about what heart disease is and how they can prevent it.
The Georgia Department of Public Health says women in particular need to be attentive because oftentimes their symptoms go unnoticed.
For women, those symptoms may manifest differently. They may look more like chronic pain, tightness in the chest, but women are not often recognized right away as having those symptoms of heart disease or heart attack.
But whether man or woman, health officials say smokers put themselves at an even greater risk.
Tobacco and nicotine contribute to the buildup of plaque in your arteries. So it tightens the blood vessels, it contributes to the buildup of plaque, and when those two things come together, they can cause heart attack or they can cause a stroke.
Residents who want help quitting smoking can call the Georgia Quit Line 24 hours a day. You can get a free supply of nicotine replacement patches and receive calls which monitor your progress. That number is 1-877-270-STOP or 877-270-7867. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Lynn Vaughn.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, health officials also want to raise awareness at the state capitol about another disease that greatly impacts Fulton: diabetes. During the 5th annual Shine a Light on Diabetes event, community activists rallied together to let the public know about the seriousness of this disease. Now, according to the American Diabetes Association, about 14% of Georgians have diabetes.
1 in 3 people with diabetes in Fulton County are walking around and they do not know they have type 2 diabetes.
After the rally, the group held a health fair and networking event so that health officials could collaborate on ways to combat diabetes collectively.
And we are trying to encourage state funding for diabetes, both in diabetes prevention programs and self-management programs, to positively affect the way that diabetes is growing in our state.
Organizers hope the trend changes, but if not, they say by 2050, as many as 1 in 3 Americans will have diabetes. Well, one of Fulton's cooperative extension agents goes to jail with the hopes of getting inmates to eat healthier. About 14 kitchen jail trustees are taking a 6-week nutrition program. The agent is teaching the inmates how to reduce stress and keep their blood pressure in check inside the Rice Street facility.
Okay, our goal here is to help students get off of salt and get off of sugar, and to take the stress out of their lives by planning their meals, keep them from going to the grocery store 3 or 4 times a week, and learn to sit down to dinner with their kids.
During each class, the instructor also demonstrates how to make healthy and affordable dishes that contain vegetables. The inmates are then given recipe cards so they can cook healthier meals once they leave the facility. Fulton County has an award-winning jail kitchen and well-respected culinary program for inmates. And when we come back, an HGTV star who's teaching library patrons how to create their own amazing space. That story coming up when Fulton Today returns. A new exhibit that includes reclaimed artifacts is now on display at the Auburn Avenue Research Library. The exhibit, called Burning Brush, I Am Who I Am, is in collaboration with Hammond's House Museum. The exhibit, titled by artist Athlon Clark, is a symbolic reference to the burning bush story with Moses from the Bible.
I hope it is somewhat enlightening and maybe something that the average person, the common man, can relate to, you know. But as you can see, the subject matters are so varied. So it really depends on the individual painting as well as the individual viewer.
This is one of a number of exhibits currently on display at that branch. Residents can see the full exhibit at the main gallery until April. And finally, a popular HGTV personality gives some free lessons about home renovations. Several do-it-yourselfers attended the Art of Amazing Space event at the Central Library. Chip Wade, who can be seen on many shows, including HGTV's Elbow Room and Design to Sell, gave some makeover tips for those who have a low budget but want a high-impact project.
Homeowners typically are very normal, but they start the process without a proper plan, which is probably advice that people hear all the time. But what the proper plan is again the differentiating factor. It really is knowing what all your options are, going through all the iterative process of seeing what could be and ultimately narrowing down what the best option is. Because once you know that you have the best option, everything else falls into place.
Chip Wade graduated from Georgia Tech and began working for an Atlanta-based home builder. He then transitioned into TV in 2007. Since then, he has appeared on a number of shows, including that of, you guessed it, Oprah. Very, very cool. Well, before we go, our reminder that we'd like to connect with you online. Check us out anytime on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. I'm Shania Chavis-Rucker. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.